Shut up and sit down.
It's where the big boys play. SICW.
Welcome to Square Read Podcast, everybody. Episode 81, I believe. Tonight we have a little bit of footage with Glenn Williams throwing down a challenge to Buff Bagwell, and we'll see how that went. We have a couple of shows. We'll talk about those, look at the pictures. What's going on, guys?
What? You're not going to introduce us?
Everybody should know you. You're famous.
Fine, I'll introduce us.
First-time viewers today.
Right. You never know. No, I got it. I got it.
Wait.
Right.
I don't. You're not The Rock, so you don't have a very, very teeny little threshold for your ego. So I'll do it just so you don't get hurt.
No. I got it. I got it. Okay. In the white cap, we got the former Central States champion, Bobby D. In the black cap. In the black cap, we have the P. Diddy of professional wrestling, Nate. And then we have the Shriners champion, the Big Texan.
You know how much
that is wrong
when you don't do your job.
I've never had a white party at my house.
I'm guessing there are cases of baby oil behind that curtain.
Yeah, laced with scopolamine like old Diddy's. No.
We know how you rich, fancy people do things, you know.
You guys are just at the MAC. You should know. You guys were there. I wasn't there.
That's because no one wants to be seen with you no more, since you're the P. Diddy of professional wrestling. They don't want to be on videotape, because if they be on videotape, then other things can happen.
They know there's always a camera going at your place.
Multiple. Come on, Bobby. You bring it up before, you know.
Anyway, so this week has been really cool in many ways. You know, we talked about it last week that this past Thursday we had the show at the Missouri Athletic Club, and during that show we had 3 special guests. We had Tito, Santana.
Just to point out that picture there, like beautiful place, like great not hardwood, tiled floors, walls like are decorated. Like the place is just fancy and really freaking nice.
Yeah, it's a throwback to wrestling at the Chase era, where everyone dressed up in their fancy clothes, suits and ties, and the dresses, and the cigar smoke, and the whiskey, and the beer flowing. It's a throwback of that. So it's a very classy place. I mean, they were doing bets on the wrestling again. But just to but re-talk about, we had 3 special guests: Tito, Santana, Buff Bagwell, and
Brutus.
Yeah, Brutus the Barber, Beefcake. And it's very cool to run back into them, because they were all 3 just at our Fan Fest 2, and it's always good to have them back.
Buff was at the first one, not the second one.
Who? Oh, Brutus was?
No, Buff was at the first one, but not the second one.
Okay, all right. So I stand corrected. They were at a Fan Fest, so this is the second time in for, I guess, 2 of them. Tito, I think this was his 3rd time in.
You got to forgive Texan. He's been hitting the head a lot from Attila. He just saw him in Vegas, is what he's thinking of. That was the recent time we saw Buff.
Yeah, that's true.
I will be posting his match from the MAC, and he gets hit a couple times also. Bobby gets smacking a couple times too during that match.
Yeah, so I mean, I had Kowalski, and that's what caused me to lose my actual classic championship. He got me with a tire iron, got me with a chair to the head, and then got me with a metal briefcase to the head. So yes, sometimes the memory goes. I'm glad that I have P Diddy of professional wrestling to remind me of. I mean, he must have had footage of all this too, so that's
I
why he
do.
can
I
remember
do.
it.
He just
See.
said he was going to be posting.
Yeah, and Sean and Glenn, the Canadian Zero, Sean and Glenn were bugging my camera guy I sent there because, for for other reason, about footage, saying we haven't seen our footage, and the camera guy is Nate owns it. Talk to him. Said they kept bugging him, but
Yep.
they're too scared. They're too scared to talk to me. So
Well, it's probably because you weren't there, because you were busy watching some footage.
that night I was busy creating some stuff.
Understandable. Goes right along with what I'm thinking. Anyway, so it was a
If you were
great.
thinking you were watching Ric Flair and Curtis Dean wrestle, then yeah, that's what you were thinking.
So it was an awesome night. Just having that atmosphere, the smoke of the cigars. Um, everyone dressed up to the fancy nines there. They had a stage for us with fog machines and different colored lights. Just like that. This is Bobby coming in from his.
That's
I'm
pretty
like a
awesome.
shadow in there because I know I was right behind him.
Yeah,
But
you're in the shadow with the fog coming up on the side. Then you see
So
the
you're,
guy with the Cuban cigar with the wad of money getting ready to put bets down.
I say you're under my left arm there.
hey, I know for a fact someone lost $1,600 that night because who did they bet on? I think it was Joel Helms' match. He had that ninja guy.
Of the masked Shogun.
Yeah, Shogun. And I guess they bet on Shogun to beat Joe Helms.
Why?
But
Because he
Joe,
came out with all this fake ninja shit.
but yeah, so Joe Helms beat him, and yeah, I wouldn't call it a squash match either. But the crowd was actually getting behind Shogun, and so he had to try to end it as early as he could because he didn't want the crowd to get behind Shogun.
I did hear that the crowd got so excited that a elderly gentleman with a cane went after Glenn Williams, and Jason had to interfere.
It
You talking
was
about Sean Vincent?
Which one?
going after Sean.
I'm
Was it
saying Sean
Sean or
Vincent, the
Glenn?
elderly gentleman with a cane.
um, it was a crazy night. There's even footage. We have some of the footage of Buff Bagwell, talking to Sean and Glenn Williams. I don't know if you can roll that now, but
I can do whatever.
Last time I checked, it's 2024. It's not 1999. And this is the Monday Night Nitro. And I'm looking around. I don't see Hogan. I don't see Bischoff. I don't see Nash or Scott Steiner. What are you doing here? So, what were you saying there you go? That it's not 1999. Well, everybody here knows who Buff Bagwell is. And nobody knows or cares who you are.
We've been telling Glenn that forever.
Maybe he'll listen now.
I doubt it.
so Bobby, what you need to learn how to do is to co-cock someone because Glenn felt like a box of rocks there. So to get
I
your
gotta
title
say,
back,
however he threw that hook or something, I'm gonna have to watch that video a few more times.
right. So that was very cool. Buff got into the ring, knocked out Glenn Williams. Sean was all distraught, running around as best as he could since he's limping right now.
I think it's fake. I think that's the Cowboy Bob Elton Jr. arm.
Does he have a cast on his foot?
Well, he did wear a loaded boot for a long period of time, so that probably did hurt his foot, and that's why he's got the limp. But so very cool night. They had Buff out there. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, when he came out, there was actually a guy that challenged him to cut his hair, and sure enough, Beefcake chopped off some of this guy's hair and then caught it and then threw it up, and it was. I don't know if the guy actually believed that Beefcake would have done it, but he did it. So I don't know if there's going to be some sort of lawsuit afterwards or something, but
I mean, he told him to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he told him to.
Very cool guy is Bruce the Barber Beefcake. I actually told him, I sat down and had a conversation with him for a minute and was telling him about, because he's very, well, technically it's his wife, but it's him and his wife. They're constantly doing TikToks, and they're constantly talking bad things about Hulk Hogan. And that's most of all their TikToks is how, Hulk Hogan would do this drug, or Hulk Hogan would, sleep around, and it's just one thing after another. And so I sat him down and I asked him, I said, so what all started this beef? And he said it's Hulk Hogan tried to hit on his wife, and she called him on it. And, this was right when her and Beefcake were getting together. And he said that she wouldn't have any of this. And, basically told Beefcake about it. And that's what kind of started this whole feud. But, yeah, so he was very cool to talk about, because there's a lot of other things he said, and I ain't going to repeat it. Because I don't need to have film of it. However, it was a very great conversation to sit down with him. It does kind of suck that it looks like his neck is fused. He had a very horrible, I don't know, it was a motorboat accident that he had. I think it was actually on a jet ski. But man, he had a horrible accident on the water. They thought he was going to die. They magically put him back together. I know he's got a steel plate in his head, and who knows what he had done to his neck. But yeah, so his neck is surgically in the spot where, kind of like Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle now is kind of like that, where he's got to turn the whole body to look at you if you're not, face to face with him. But hell of a guy.
I say, you make me think maybe I should be careful on my jet skis.
Well, you should. I heard there was a lot of alcohol involved in that as well, because evidently all the wrestlers would get invited down to his beach house, and he lived on the water. Hogan lived on the water. They were kind of close, the neighbors wise, so they would all get together, and they were all big on getting a bunch of wrestlers together, and they would just have a play date, basically, on the jet skis or on boats. So I'm sure there was some party involved. But so he was very lucky that he survived that. But definitely cool to have him back in. He was a blast to talk to. And I didn't witness this, but I heard he can put down some alcohol. I heard some stories from Thursday night that, even after the show, Bobby, I don't know if you came down, but after the show, I did hit up, like everyone was going to this bar that was serving all the guests there. And so I did have a couple beers, but it was kind of cool. And then we tore down the ring.
When I came in, you were about 3 or 4 whiskeys deep.
Which is just like beer.
Beer too.
But then we tore down the ring, and then we hightailed it out of there. But it was a great night. I talked to Tito for quite a bit too. You know, I'll show this too because, you know, the first time Tito came in, I snagged a picture of him. Actually, Adam, our camera guy for SICW, took this picture and he sent it to me like a week after this show. And so I remembered it and I printed it out. And it says, "To my friend, Big Texan from Tito, Santana, Hall of Fame 2004. And what was really cool is that sparked a conversation where he said that he had wished that he would have, you know, took pictures with guys, you know, that he wrestled or, you know, or in the locker room. Because he said he doesn't really have any of that. What he has is what everyone has of him. Videos on YouTube, matches from the vault. But he has not a whole lot of, you know, pictures of him and other wrestlers or him and Hulk Hogan or anything like that. And he really truly wishes that he would have done that. But they said that they were all in the moment of being who they were at that high level of wrestling that no one even thought about that. And kind of brings me to a point that I would like to send out to everyone. That, you know, sometimes they say don't meet your what is it? Don't meet your idols.
Don't meet the heroes.
Yeah, don't meet your heroes. But I say meet your heroes. And, you know, even if you're a wrestling fan, you know, and this kind of goes to the fan fest and stuff that we talked about in the past. Meet those guys, get your pictures with them, have your conversations with them, get their autograph, and not just for you. I mean, it was awesome that I got to meet him before. If I didn't meet him again, that would have just been great, just to have a picture of him, because all these pictures wind up in my office, and I got them all over the wall. You know, me and Bob, and me and Hammer Valentine. You know, of course, me and Herb, and me and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But besides having a memory for yourself and having a picture of your heroes, having their autographs, you know, that's cool for them as well, because like we said it in the past, I know I've said it on other episodes of our podcast, that a lot of these guys are at the age where they think, and like Tito actually said this the first time I met him, he didn't think anyone would remember him. You know, because when he left WWF/WWE, he became a school teacher, and he did that till retirement. And he just retired not too long ago. And so when everyone was kind of, you know, Herb was reaching out to him and say, hey, you know, come in and do one of our shows. And he's been doing some other shows now too. He didn't really think that he was going to be remembered. And, you know, having that conversation with him Thursday about how he wished he would have got pictures of his friends, you know, that is just full circle. You know, it's good for us, good for them, because they feel remembered by other people, fans, wrestlers. You know, he put out a book too about his life, and he hoped it was going to be a seller, and it's actually a bestseller now. So people remember Tito. And like I said, a lot of retired wrestlers are now at the age where they're starting to do this fan fest stuff. And back in the day, not a lot of the heel wrestlers or the managers did that because they believed in that since they were a heel, that the fans wouldn't want to see them. But now they're like, oh no, let's go out there, let's meet these fans of ours, and let's build our legacy and have these fans enjoy the moment with us. So definitely, if you run into your heroes, meet them, and just remember, some of them might have a bad day. You know, because there was, you know, like Buff. The first time we met Buff, he was having a bad day. He was right next to the speakers. He didn't like the volume of the microphone. So, it could have been just a bad day. But Thursday, he was awesome. He spoke with all of us, took pictures with everyone. He, he got in the ring. And I tell you, that was a Missouri ring. So technically, he should have had a license.
Allegedly, he got in the ring. We have no definitive proof. Don't look behind the curtain.
So it's just cool things that he did on the spot. No one knew he was going to get in the ring. Most of them just stay on the outside of the ring and yell back and forth, or if something happens, it happens on the outside. But he took it upon himself to get up in that ring. But that's just, he made a moment for everyone. So it's just a cool thing, and I say this to a lot of wrestlers too. Don't be shy. Get in there, talk to these legends, learn from the legends. A lot of times too, that they like Marler McDarby, even though he's a bad guy, he's very knowledgeable in wrestling. And he had said something to Tito the first time he was in, and that sparked a whole conversation about a certain match that Marler remembered that Tito, forgot about. But then he remembered the whole thing and was able to talk him through why that match happened, what was the outcome, and everything. They love it, we love it, and don't be afraid if you're a wrestler to get those pictures with those legends that come through. So you have memories of them, So I just want to get that out.
Everybody watching, don't be afraid to get pictures with these two living legends, so you can have memory.
Right. I'll tell you, the next show that we had was at FAIRMONT City, and that show was great. It was a benefit show. It was for the firemen and the police force, I think, down there. I know it was the firemen, but I want to say the police was involved as well. But the mayor of the town was there. He actually got involved in a match. We'll talk about that in a second. But the fans there, I normally have, like, and Bobby does normally too, T-shirts and stuff that we sell and pictures. But it was like a mob gang out there. I brought out, I normally have some bells, and I do pictures. And I even talked to Bobby about it because he's seen the package of bells. It was a package of 12 bells. And normally I have Bobby's wife label it for me with Texan and a T on one side and everything. Well, I didn't get a chance to do it this time. So they were just blank. And I went out there with those and some pictures. Ended up selling all the bells except for 2. So, I don't even have enough bells to even warrant saying, hey, can you make me these labels? Because I only got 2 left. So I got to wait till I get some more in. But sold a bunch of pictures.
Did you at least autograph the bells for him?
I did. I did autograph the bells, autograph the pictures, but it was a great night. And we had our friend, one of the luchadors back, El Diablo. It was his return visit to FAIRMONT City. And I tell you, his T-shirts are so cool because I love Mexico. Me and Bobby's been to Mexico with our families. We visited the ruins.
Tijuana.
Oh, P. Diddy's been out there. I figured that Underground Railroad type thing.
Hey, there's some great shows in Tijuana.
But so his T-shirts have like the I want to say sand dollar, but it's that the symbol of like the sun and like the mazes around it. That's pretty familiar with anything Mexico, and I mean that the artwork looks great because it's got that on it, and it's got his name El Diablo on there, and they look so cool. But they were selling like hotcakes, and Gary Jackson had his whistles going, and so everyone was just loving wrestling that night. But so on that night, we got some pictures going on from my match. I had Waco but Glenn Williams was in Waco's corner. And it was because Glenn got wind that I might, at some point in time, want to go after the Central States title.
This must be because we joked around last week about it, switching titles.
Yeah, must be. So he, got behind Waco. Was trying to pump Waco up, and man, he interfered so much in that match. I heard some of the fans yelling out, "This is not a tag match," just yelling at the ref, but it was definitely pretty much a 2-on-1 for a lot of the times.
Well, this picture looks like you had Billy McNeil in your corner, too.
Yeah, so that happened towards the end. Billy kind of saved me towards the end there. So it started out with me and Waco, and then Glenn got involved. So I got out of the ring to catch up to Glenn. And by the time I caught up to Glenn, Waco had caught up to me. And so we were fighting on the outside. Waco was bringing me in, choking me on the ropes. Glenn, of course, would start choking me on the ropes too. He smacked me, I think, at one point. So he was getting really involved into our match. And thank God our friend too, Billy McNeil, came out and kind of saved the day a little bit because he ran Glenn Williams off. So that prepared me. Waco was looking at Glenn saying, "Oh, buddy, where's my buddy? Where's my buddy?" And, that, of course, allowed for the pat and taking the elbow pad off so I can get up and close with my clothesline and, sealed Waco's deal there and got the pin. But it was a very cool match.
You make a lot of friends through this podcast.
Glenn's all talk.
He's got some skills to him. I'll attest to that. I felt things like a uranagi from him and whatnot. He knows how to put a little bit of pain in.
Yeah, just like that lariat challenge.
Yeah, just like that lariat challenge.
For every one thing of pain he knows how to do, there's 10 things of talk he knows how to do.
Bobby, you had a match that night. How was your match, and who'd you have?
I went against Sean Behrens. Guy's been around the block a few times, so he did get a jump on me a little bit, but I ended up putting him away with the sharpshooter. He made a mistake going for a knee drop, moved out of the way, worked on that knee a little bit. That was it. I think we were in the ring for about 6 minutes.
And honestly, I did watch that match, and it was actually pretty damn good. And I wouldn't say that normally. Bobby's part of the match is always good. Bobby, I always admit that Bobby's a way better wrestler than me. He knows a lot more shit than I do. But Sean Behrens was actually, I don't know, I guess he was extra pumped up that night because he was actually putting it to you. And,
he's not a small guy either.
Right. I was kind of shocked that what he was bringing to you. I mean, of course, I had no doubt that you were going to get the victory. But man, he came pretty damn close. There's one spot that I tell you, he got you on the ropes somehow and did that move. You run across the other side and come back and jump on you, kind of give you that extra choke. Mm-hmm. And then he slid out. And then I think he needs you in the head to get you back into the ring. And first time I ever seen him do that. And I was thinking, wow, he must have been learning some shit here lately,
Yeah, that wasn't in my scouting report.
Right.
Learned the new stuff just to take you on, Bobby. You got to feel proud. You knew he couldn't take you with his old skill set.
But that's the thing with wrestling. You got to keep improving and keep coming up with new things.
Yeah, right. Every time, every wrestler should be doing that. Even how I say Bobby knows more than I do. I still try to learn shit, and especially with teaching the younger students, I have to relearn things that I might have forgotten, so I can teach them properly. And then I try to learn different things that I don't even do, so I can teach them that so they can put that in their repertoire. So it's pretty cool. But I love doing it. So the main event that night, since Glenn Williams got involved in my match, and Billy got him away from us, it was a strap match. So it was Billy versus Glenn, and the Central States title wasn't even on the line. He threw out this speech saying that he only has to defend that title every 30 days by contract. So since he just defeated someone, or since he just took the belt, I guess he didn't have to defend the belt right away. So the title wasn't on the line, but I'm sure if Billy would have won, eventually it would have to be on the line versus Billy, I would imagine. So strap match.
I say Billy did win.
Oh, Billy did win.
Yeah. And hopefully it's not on the line sometime soon because I'm going to go take it off him.
Oh, there you go.
Be the 4th time.
That's right.
So the strap match, those two. Now, Waco was trying to get involved in this match, but the mayor of Fairmont was there, and Herb said if anyone in that building could control Waco, it would be that mayor. And so they handcuffed Waco to the mayor. And I tell you, I was watching this match too because it was pretty brutal. You're talking about those straps. Those straps are like this wide. And I wish I would have sent you the picture of Billy because they showed a picture of his back, and the welts on him were just crazy. But yeah, so Waco was trying to get involved, and the mayor was constantly yanking him back, and at the I can't believe I did not remember that Billy won because there was at the end Billy went for the pin, and Waco actually tried to slide in underneath the ring, underneath the ropes to break up the pin, and the mayor was able to pull him back so he couldn't interfere, and that's what created the win. Not really created the win, but kept Billy winning instead of having it really broken up by Waco or something. But yes, it was definitely a cool night. The fans showed out for Fairmont City, and they do it upright because they were giving away alcohol. They do that wheelbarrow where you buy tickets to win this wheelbarrow full of alcohol, and it was all loaded up.
I would say, if you actually look at their wheelbarrow, though, it's not a wheelbarrow of booze. It's a wheelbarrow plus like another box.
You know what I find funny is every single policeman, fireman event that I've ever gone to, it's just free flowing with alcohol. It is the funniest thing.
They have the toughest jobs in the world. Besides them, I would also throw teachers in there. But they got the toughest jobs. They got to deal with all the criminals and fucktards out there in the world.
Even in high school, I went to a policeman fireman's ball. No, Bobby, I didn't touch their ball.
Hey, you're the one saying.
I bet you were filming it.
No, at that time, I was 16. And
okay. The entrepreneurship wasn't in your head by then, huh?
No, it was going up to the bar and getting 4 screwdrivers full strength and 4 margaritas full strength, and from the bartender that was an officer. It was the funniest damn thing. There were no policemen on duty at all in that area.
We like to point out that Nate is not from the Illinois region originally. This was back when he was living in California. So all of our policemen and firefighters around Belleville are great guys.
Yeah. There's some of them that have a little bit to be desired, but
well, we'll just leave it at that. We don't need no speeding tickets.
It's a personal thing. It's a personal thing and not a law enforcement thing.
Yeah, so I mean that show was awesome. I liked
I
seeing
got this.
El Diablo out there. It's been a whole year since since he was on the podcast, it hasn't been a year, but been a year since I seen him last. So it's kind of cool seeing him. He had another guy that he went against, and they tore down the house too, doing that Mexican style of wrestling that they do. A lot of
He's a great lucha. He is. He's
yeah,
flippy and bendy.
right. You know, not to change the subject, but I am going to change the subject. I don't know if you guys caught AEW over the weekend, but there was a triple threat match that was crazy. It had he was a Japanese wrestler. Sorry, I don't know his name, but because I don't watch the product a lot, but I seen it on YouTube, so I kind of watched it. Now, the style is insane. Ricochet was one of them, and then the guy they just got in from I think Ireland. Um, I don't know. Help me out, Bobby. He is a British wrestler, blonde hair. They just spent a whole bunch of money getting him in. Not
I'm
ringing a
not an
bell.
AEW guy.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
damn it. But it was a cool match. Little unrealistic. It was a great match to watch, but I tell you, there was so many moves that could have been finishers that at any given moment the match could have been over
Oh,
because almost
you talking about Will Ospreay?
Will Ospreay. Yeah, it was Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and a Japanese wrestler that they just brought in too. Ospreay and the Japanese guy, big money dollar guys that they paid a lot of money to bring these guys in. I don't know what Ricochet's contract is, but I'm sure they paid a pretty penny for him to come too, because he literally left WWE to come to AEW. But
Takashita.
it was a crazy match. God, I wish there was a guy that described that match, and I wish I could remember how he described it because, it was an acrobatic match. That's how he described it, and that match was crazy. A lot of flying out of the ring, a lot of flying through tables, a lot of double team moves that, like I said, every move could have been a finisher. It probably was a finisher at one time. Um, so I'll just say it was cool to watch it. Um, But realistically, all three of them should be broken in half right now. Not like my lucha libre jumping off the ring there, but that kind of shows that big man can fly too. And I was telling the story about this because I was telling that how you told me, Bobby, that it looked like I just landed on my feet and then landed on him, but I literally landed on him and like bounced to my feet. Because he didn't give, the table didn't give, so it was like boom.
That's a
It
that's
was
a
so fast.
that's a strong table. Just him laying on it.
Right. You figure he's 450. I'm just under 400, so that's 850 pounds crashing down on that table or on that table, and the legs bent. That was the only thing that happened to that table. I ended up having to drag that to the wall, put it at an angle, and then throw Kowalski into it just to have it break. Um, yeah, so SICW, we don't fix our tables. WWE, AEW, a lot of them, they cut those things in half or don't have all the screws in them. That was a solid table, and it showed itself being solid that night. All right, where was I? We were talking about Fairmont, crazy night, great show. We got another great show coming up this Saturday. It's where Bobby's going to go against Glenn Williams in a steel cage match.
Yeah. So that's what I was actually just looking for the interview that I did the other day. if you watched All-Star Wrestling from yesterday on YouTube, it's got, I feel like I'm showcased a little bit. It shows where I lost my title. And it shows my interview from the other day at the Fairmont City show, where it was before the show, actually, challenged Glenn Williams to a cage match. You know, if he wants to keep having, when you see the match before, when you go back and watch it, you see the interference from Sean Vincent and the selfie stick and the rope break that the ref missed and all this. So I requested a cage match. Nobody else can get involved. There ain't nothing. Basically, it's just going to be me and him one-on-one. And that's it. And he's coming back with his interview saying that's fine as long as it's not pinfall and submission only. He wants to be able to escape the cage. So he wants to be able to beat me by running away.
So I would tell you, make sure when you get in the cage, you run up to him and grab him and keep him in there, because you know the first thing he's going to do is try to climb out of that cage and get out of there.
That's just where I'm going to have to break that leg.
There you go.
And you know what? We'll sweeten this deal a little bit. I am confident enough in my win this Saturday night at the Shriners in this cage match that if I lose, Glenn Williams can take my place on one podcast for us.
Well, I'll tell you what. I like this betting thing, and I have confidence in you. So if you win, you know, everything will be normal. But if you lose, I'll have Kowalski take my spot. That way, the P. Diddy of professional wrestling will have Kowalski and Glenn Williams on the same podcast.
He's going to have to get a lot of baby oil.
A lot.
I don't think I have enough bottles. I'll have to.
He'll never have it anyway, because you know, Bobby in a cage match, that's like one of his dreams there.
Oh yeah.
And plus, he's gonna outdo me. I had a cage match there last year, and we tore it down. And a lot of people still talk about that cage match. So
let's divert your eyes real quick. Here's that flying spot we were just talking about. The big luchador.
So the funny thing about that spot is when I climbed up there, I just happened, you know, I was looking around and I just happened to land on Herb Simmons. And we made eye contact there for a second, and he is shaking his head like, don't do it. Don't do it. And, you know, he's been around long enough that he knows I've broken my foot. You know, I was basically paralyzed for a while. You know, shoulder's been out of place, and he's like shaking his head, no. And matter of fact, he even after the match come back into the locker room, and he goes, you know what I'm going to tell you, right? And I looked right at him. I said, don't ever climb to the top rope. And he goes, damn right. So well, that's why, you know, I was going to go climb it to the top until I seen him. And then I was like, all right, fine. I'll just jump off the ring onto him. But,
well, isn't that how you broke your foot the first time, was going off the top rope?
Yes, it was. And, you know, my fat ass used to get on the top rope and do a drop kick off the top. And done it many a times. You know, I remember hitting Moondog plenty of times with a couple other people. And Brian, if I can remember his last name, he now wrestles for ACW. And I can't remember his last name. It's those chair shots. But anyway, I went to, you know, do the move, and he backed up from me, so I never made contact. So when, you know, fat guy's coming down in an angle, you know, he hits the mat, I like rolled the whole ankle, the foot, and everything, and yeah, just broke 6 bones. I have a steel plate on the top of my foot now, holding everything together. It's been a couple years though, so I should be still good to go. So talking about a loaded boot, if I ever learned to kick with my left foot, you know, I would have a loaded boot too. But you know, I normally do all my kicking with my right. But
okay, you're giving away some trade secrets now.
So watch for the left foot. No, so besides Bobby in that steel cage match, his is definitely going to be the main event because it takes so long to put that cage together. There's no sense of putting the cage together to take it down to have other matches. So he's going to have the main event that night. He's going to win that night. So our podcast stays the same. But also on that night, this belt gets defended, which is the Shriners Championship belt. Now, this is the original version of the belt. There's actually two belts out there. One, the Shriners actually keep in a glass case, but I was able to do the Shriners Parade this year, and I had both versions of the belt. This one, I think, is a little bit more special because this has actually got Tony Atlas's autograph on it. It's got Bob Orton's autograph on it. So to me, this one's the better belt. The newer version of the belt, though, has like gaitored skin leather. So it does make a cool design on the belt. But this one will be up for a title defense this Saturday. Now, this one is at the Shriners Temple. It's in East St. Louis. It's a very beautiful building. It's got security watching everything. The parking lot is all fenced in, and they got security people walking the lot. So don't be afraid to come to this show. It does start an hour early, so the doors open at 5. The show starts at 6.
I say from doing this show a couple of years now, we have left really late, and it's not just us. There's kids there really late too, and I've never heard or seen any troublesome things.
Yes, it's right off the main drag, so it's definitely a cool place to go to. If you've never been to the Shriners Temple, they used to have circuses held in that place. They have a big stage. A lot of plays used to go on. The acrobats used to roam around that place too. They told me before that they back in the day when they had a circus, they had all the animals, and so they had the elephants in there and the tigers in there. This place is big, and it is so beautiful because it's one of the oldest buildings too that's still kept up. And so it's amazing just to walk around. And of course, since it is the Shriners building, there's a lot of secrets to that building. And me and Bobby got some privileged last time. Me, both times I got taken not everywhere in that building. I'm sure there's places I've never been. But some cool bars that are hidden downstairs got welcomed into the family life we did. And, anytime.
Of your P. Diddy party.
Yeah, it's amazing you weren't there. You were probably at home watching it from the surveillance tapes.
Yeah, they don't invite me in because, they don't want the devil there. So. Wait, El Diablo wasn't there.
But anyway, that's this Saturday. So it's going to be an awesome show. And, after this, we got so many shows before the end of the year. We got Breeze next weekend. And Breeze, we talked about it before, how it's Bobby's friend who is helping out the youth wrestling club out there as well. So all these shows are just the benefit.
That one's high school wrestling.
Oh, it's high school wrestling.
When he was a youth wrestler, he used to be at the Little Devils.
But all these shows are to benefit the youth, the high schoolers, the police, the firemen, the Shriners, and the Shriners give a lot back to the community. Besides that parade that they do for the kids, there's a lot of things they do.
They pay hospital bills for those who can't afford it, especially for kids.
Yeah. I was just at their gun raffle, too, that they were having, and, everyone was in there enjoying the food. It was like a meat shoot, so everyone was winning racks of ribs and bacon and everything like that. A very cool thing that they do. But yeah, the Shriners are a very good organization. They want me in there every time I've come there. They say, "When are you going to join?" So, man, I got time. with all the wrestling, the work, and everything else, family life, I got time to try to pledge an eighth of my life to the Shriners. But
Well, you don't want to do the secret handshakes and all the secret oath taking and.
that's going to be for you. I mean, that's the life you live,
I've been to
Mr.
the
P
Grove. I
Diddy of
don't do
wrestling,
that.
and I'm going to get this so synced that the fans are going to start calling you that. That's what I want out of this episode. Fans, if you learn anything from tonight's episode, is that Nate's new nickname is going to be the P Diddy of professional wrestling. That's got to stick. The only thing you need to learn out of this episode.
I mean, it is nasty.
There's a picture of Bobby's first cage match.
I won that cage match, jumped off the cage match, held the belt high above the cage. That's the picture you choose.
That's the only one you could find.
They were both so bloody that night that individually, as they were coming back to the locker room, there was people working on the cuts, taking towels of just wiping just blood after blood, and they were trying to stitch them up and everything in the back. Well, actually, that was a lot of Sean right there. Bobby, spent another half hour out with the fans and the kids and everything, all a bloody mess, celebrating.
I got yelled at
and
by a
then
couple parents to go get cleaned up.
and then came back to get cleaned up. But
So if you go to my Bobby D Facebook page, it's like 2 profile pictures ago is one of the favorite pictures I've had, where I kind of got a little grin and it's just pure Crimson Mask. It reminded me a lot of Mick Foley.
Speaking of Mick Foley, he just signed a brand new WWE Legends contract.
Nice.
Just to throw that in there. But yeah, so definitely come out to this Saturday show. Come out to Breeze, and then Breeze is just going to lead us back to November the 2nd, back in Belleville, back in the SICW arena. Big matches on that. The whole company's on the line for that show. Well, actually, it's not that show. The stipulations are going to happen at that show. So you got Gary versus Attila. You got Stephen E. in Attila's corner. And you got Danny Boy in Gary's corner. And the winner of that match gets to name the stipulation for the other show that's in November, still at the fairgrounds. Of course, that's the big 6-man tag match with Attila and Haku and the Barbarian versus Ron Powers, Danny Boy, and Gary Jackson. And that particular match is what's going to hold SICW's fate in their hands.
So basically what you're saying is not only was there a bet for SICW, but a bet because of you two about our company and the production of wrestling.
Yeah,
videos.
so a lot is on the line. So it looks like, for us, this Saturday holds a lot on the line for us. And then in November, the whole company is on the line. So definitely, come to these shows. Root on Gary Jackson in November. Root Bobby on this Saturday in that steel cage match. I can't tell you much about Breeze. I do know there's a steel cage match at Breeze, but I don't know the card. But I do know this Saturday, Attila will be on the show. The Top Guns will be there. And of course, I got the title on the line against Peyton Ayers. So, I've always done a good job of defending my belts and keeping my belts. Not saying that I'm on a losing streak because I won Saturday. But I got my last title on the line, so this one has got to come home with me so we can keep the gold on the podcast. And then, Bobby's going to win. Oh, that's a good question to you. Is that title on the line this Saturday?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I get my rematch clause, so.
Good. So hopefully by next Monday, we'll have 2 belts to show off. You know, Shriner's belt and the Central States belt. So keep the gold at home.
Yep.
But one other thing,
And then you two need to tag team and get the tag straps. Let's just be a hoarder and grab all the gold.
hey, I'm fine
I
with
mean,
that. Me and Bobby
I
at
say we didn't really.
the MAC,
Yeah.
we tagged, and it was a great match. It was against Attila and Peyton. And I tell you, we were outnumbered from the start because Liv Khan was out there. Stephen E. was out there. Travis Cook was out there. Besides the 2 guys we were fighting. So it was definitely crowded in their corner. But, you know, the good guys won. You know, I got, you know, Bobby took care of Attila, got him outside so he couldn't interfere. I hit Peyton with the lariat, got the victory. And you know, Peyton's laid out. Attila's still very aggressive on Bobby. So I just happened to grab an equalizer in the form of a steel chair. And I got Attila a couple times. And I tell you, those managers scattered pretty damn quick when they seen a steel chair. But Peyton came out to try to defend, you know, Attila. I ended up getting him with it. So it was a very productive match for me and Bobby. And hands down, whoever's holding those tag titles might want to, you know, you never know when they pair me and Bobby up again. But yeah, so awesome. One last thing I want to talk about, and then we can shut off for the night. And I just want to give Brian Danielson like a little tribute because he actually retired Saturday. He lost his championship against Moxley. Of course, they did beat the crap out of him after the match. You know, Moxley's got his own little game. Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big AEW guy or, you know, right now WWE guys. But there's certain people I look at and watch the matches to. And Brian Danielson, you know, the American Dragon from Ring of Honor is what he was called. He was a great in-ring guy. And, you know, over the years, he's had a lot of neck surgeries, a lot of concussion protocols. And, you know, he was able to win the AEW championship and the WWE championship multiple times. So there's only a handful of people I think have won both. You know, him, Jericho, and I can't say even Moxley has done that because I don't think Moxley has won the WWE championship.
I don't believe so. I think he had Intercontinental, but I don't think he ever got the big one.
Yeah, so only a handful of people can say that out of the 2 biggest companies have won the top prize in both companies.
And
so
even Cody, I don't think he had it in AEW, did he? He was a TNT title for a while.
Yeah, I don't think Cody's ever won that one either. But, you know, there's rumors that, well, one, he's a free agent. So there's already rumors starting that he's going to come back to WWE, which I doubt. But there's rumors that
he's at this point a good enough draw where he could do a Legends contract.
Yeah, he could. But from what I hear, the backstage rumors is that he wants to be more behind the scenes on AEW. Kind of how Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Omega were like office generals. I think he wants to take that route since Cody left. I'm sure that spot's been vacant for a while now. So I think he wanted to do more of a backstage thing, which, you know, he's made his money. You know, he made a lot of money in WWE, and AEW paid a buttload of money to get him to come. You know, that was when they were paying a buttload to get people to jump ship, and he was one of them. So I do want to send the props out to him that, you know, his career is amazing. For a smaller guy, he turned the wrestling world upside down because he had to deal with it when he was in WWE because WWE was still big guy, big muscles. If you're a small guy, you're good for the mid card or the opening match. But he got the whole world behind him in what they call the yes movement. And then he was able to knock out, a couple great guys to get his first championship. It was Triple H, it was Batista, he was, and Randy Orton, he was able to knock out to get that belt and won it multiple times. So yeah, hands down, congratulations on your retirement. I don't know if it's the way he wanted to go out, but either way, props. But yeah, so just to recap, definitely come to this show Saturday, Shriners. The doors open at 5. I can't tell you enough because normally they open at 6. Show starts at 7. The show's different. Doors open at 5. Show starts at 6. Big steel cage match for the main event. Shriners belts on the line. Great card throughout the whole show, though, so definitely come to it. And then helping the high schoolers out in Breeze is next Saturday and leads us back to the Belleville Fairgrounds November the 2nd. But if you like this content, we are not shadow banned anymore, so please keep it going for the comments because the video P. Nate did earlier today has got a lot of comments behind it, so we need to keep that to keep us in the momentum, and get our share the content to get the viewership up. Subscribe, send it to your friends, make them subscribe, and it just helps us out and helps us bring more things into this podcast. Guys, you got anything?
Yeah. What did you get in the mail? This is our what you get in the mail. I'm Bobby. Did you get your wrestling box?
No, my box is on the 1st of every month, but I mean, I just put this one out here today. It's Eric Young. I couldn't think of his last name there. Little Eric Young autograph photo.
There you go.
I always thought he was a very underrated guy in TNA.
Well, I'll tell you, he won the TNA championship multiple times. So he might have been underrated in the beginning, but he eventually got what was due to him. Because, I love them in Team Canada.
I don't think the fans give him the credit that he deserves, though.
No. And I don't think he got a good enough shot because eventually he left TNA and went to WWE. And I don't think he got a good enough shot there. That was still under the Vince McMahon regime. And Eric Young, even though he is built like a brick shithouse, he still had that short man, syndrome that Vince McMahon did not like. So I don't think he got a fair shake. But now that Triple H is there, and running everything, maybe he'll get a better shake if he would go back. But I don't think he would. I think he went back to TNA. I think that's where he's at now. So yeah, I didn't get anything in the mail this week. I did make 2 toy purchases. I wasn't going to show it because it's not wrestling related. But growing up, I wasn't into Transformers. I wasn't into comics. The things I was into was wrestling, of course, G.I. Joes, Star Wars, Ninja Turtles, and He-Man. So I just picked up, and the only reason I picked these up, these are the current He-Man versions. I had both of these as kids, the original versions of this. This is Stinkor, I think. I can't remember his name, but the original version of this guy right here actually smelled like a skunk. When you opened him out of the package, he smelled skunky. I don't know how you say it, but this one doesn't have the smell. That was back in the good old days, the 80s, when they did cool stuff like that, where if you're a Moss Man from He-Man, he smelled like moss, and he had that fur type of skin, and this guy who's supposed to be a skunk smelled like a skunk. But the only reason I got these is, Target does a wonderful clearance on toys, and those things. The original price was $29.99, and they were on clearance for $6. So,
Good snap.
yeah, I couldn't put those down. So I seen them, had to get them. But
So what do you think about the 2026 live action He-Man movie they're doing?
did they say who's going to play He-Man?
Yeah, it was someone that I had never heard of, Nicholas Galitzine. He's famous for something called The Idea of You, Red, White, and Royal Blue. I think that's two different things.
I would have to look them up because
Never heard of him.
He-Man was a stocky, muscle-bound guy. Growing up, that's what he was. And then when they
Yeah, the
tried
last
to,
movie had Dolph Lundgren as him.
yeah, which that too was not. I mean, that movie was a flop. I mean, it's a classic now, and I tried to watch it a few months ago and I couldn't finish it. So it did not hold up. But the old cartoon style of He-Man is what I'm used to. And when they try to redo the cartoon, because you can watch it on Netflix, He-Man is skinny, and then when he turns into He-Man, because he had that alter ego thing, when he turned into He-Man, he did look more muscular, but nothing like the 80s true and true freaking, muscle bound gorilla type of statue. So we'll
Well,
see.
looking at this Nick kid, I really hope he gets into the gym because all of his pictures, he's skinny.
I say he don't fit that
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll like it then. There's some things that you just can't mess with. Kind of like, I don't know if you guys caught the new Crow movie, but it was a total flop. And they've been trying to make this movie for years, try to remake The Crow. And it was just, I didn't watch it, didn't care to watch it because I seen the advertisements for it, and that just sent me away. I don't know if I hold it higher because Brandon Lee died in that flick, and they should never try to redo it. Even when they did the two sequels after The Crow, they were horrible too. That original Crow movie was just great. The soundtrack was great for it. All the music was awesome. The movie was that grungy, dirty type of movie. And the other two were just trying to capitalize on the original, trying to make money. And so did this one, but they set it up in a different time frame where he was doing something else, and it was just the preview sent me away. But online, I was reading the reviews for it, and no one liked it. So I'm actually kind of happy about that because they should never fuck with the original.
Yeah,
But
I have no desire to watch that.
yeah.
I was just trying to figure out the other. There's two girls that are cast for the He-Man movie as well. One of them's my girl from Riverdale. She's playing Tila, Camila Mendez.
Really?
And then Evil Lynn will be Allison Brie. I don't really know her.
Yeah, I don't know it either. I'll have to look it up tomorrow just to see. But yeah, nothing wrestling wise in the mail. My big thing this week was just making sure I had that Tito Santana picture autographed so I can hang that on the wall. I did, as you shown, I did get those two other pictures. So hopefully, Herb likes to keep his friends close. So the ones that come in all the time, he likes to bring them in all the time. So, it's the second time for Buff. It's the third time for Tito. Second time for Brutus. So hopefully they bring those two in, and when they come back, I can get those autographed to put on my office wall. And I cherish those memories because I tell you, sitting at my desk and I look to the right, and the one picture I see all the time is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with me and my wife. And that picture, it just great memories. We talked about it last time, so I'm not going to bring it back up. But then I also have two pictures of me and Hulk Hogan One of the pictures is me and my youngest son, Dylan, who loved to come to the wrestling shows back in the day, and he loved meeting all the legends. And he's got photographs. Matter of fact, one of his friends, and I'll do a shout out to Campbell's Automotive. Nathan knows them. Campbell's sometimes buy a couple of tables at our wrestling show, and they come out in full force. Bobby knows them too because Campbell's son is a big ass guy who used to do tough man competitions, who now teaches football for Althoff. And you were trying to scout him in for wrestling the last time I spoke to you about him, because this guy is just big and mean looking. I mean, he would definitely be a great professional wrestler. And I think Campbell's is set up to come in on November 2nd to do a couple more tables this time around. So it'll be very cool to see them. Yeah, so, man, great episode. I think we got a lot accomplished. Remember, folks, if you like this content, share it, comment on it, give us the big thumbs up. And the one takeaway you got to take away from this episode is Nathan is the P. Diddy of professional wrestling. Okay? I want to see signs in the crowd. Nathan, my hero, the P. Diddy of professional wrestling. All right? So do me that favor. But I'm going to call it from everyone. Oh, you know what? I do want to do a shout out about one other thing. Some people have come up to me saying that they loved the show from last week. Frank Murphy, our friend that comes to wrestling all the time, he's the one that actually, Frank sends me different things on Facebook for me to track down and buy, like wrestling figures and stuff like that. Well, he took me on to sent me this guy right here where I can go get it, and I am buying it. Now, it looks pretty real, and it's got the real leather like strap, but the plates are just that really hard plastic plates. They look really great, but they're not the actual gold plates. But he come up to me Saturday. He goes, "I see you got that belt." I said, "Oh yeah, how'd you see that?" He goes, "Well, I seen it in the back of the podcast, right next to the chair you sit in." I said, "Well, damn right, that's where that belt sits, is right next to the chair." So, true fans, I know, watch our podcast on a regular. I know Tito Santana catches up on our podcast too. So it's always nice to have some legends watching the show. And, just keep sharing it. We finally got out of our ordeal with the WW whatever. And hopefully we're done with being shadow. We can get.
I don't know, Bobby.
A
Looks
lot
like they're
more
getting
fans.
He started
They didn't
talking
like
about
the
WWE, and now he's going all fruity.
They didn't like the WW whatever. They wanted the full initials in there.
Yeah, they're cutting you off now.
Well, I showed their championship belt. What more do they want? Anyway, from everyone at the Square Ring Podcast, thank you for tuning in and making our channel what it is. And we'll keep coming at you. All right. You guys have a good night. We'll see you Saturday at the Shriners, 5 o'clock. Have a good night, guys.